State Senator Leland Yee indicted and hauled into federal court as FBI agents raid his office at the Capitol and several other places in the Bay Area.
And we are on the storm watch as snow comes down in the Sierra tonight. Also, a possible tornado spotted in Glenn County, the latest on this storm as it unleashes on Northern California.
And new satellite images capture what could be all that's left of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370.
This is Fox 40 News at 5. Now, Stephanie Cruz and Eric Harriman.
We start with today's big story, the arrest and indictment of State Senator Leland Yee.
He is the biggest name in a group that was swept up today in a slew of FBI raids both here and in the Bay Area. A judge just agreed to release Yee from federal custody with orders he return on Monday for a bond hearing. We have team coverage of this story. Lonnie Wong is at the state capitol where agents raided Yee's office this morning, carrying out boxes of evidence. But we'll start in San Francisco, where Yee was arrested and appeared in court today. Ben Deasy live now to explain what's going on. Ben?
Yeah, Steph, Eric, I can tell you that in court today they were very careful, very deliberate to address him as Senator Leland Yee. And you know, this is a guy I have interviewed several times over the course of my career. I can tell you I always came away with the impression that he's even-keeled, very unflappable, and I remain with that impression today. I watched him in court talking with his attorney calmly, even smiling at times. That as he was shackled, that as he was chained to a group of other men facing some very serious criminal charges, but 65-year-old Senator Leland Yee facing some serious criminal charges himself. The FBI says it all stems from an effort to take up office here at Sacramento's City Hall after a failed bid to win the mayorship of San Francisco. He then had a $70,000 debt, and the FBI says that it was trying to retire that debt that led Senator Leland Yee to the dark side. We have some video for you shot earlier of the senator making his way into the federal courthouse where he heard the charges read against him today. The most sensational of those charges, the fact that he helped to try to facilitate an arms deal between an undercover FBI agent and an arms dealer who is, as of yet, unnamed, a dealer who has been known to bring in guns and heavy weaponry through Newark, New Jersey. The FBI indictment over the course of several months, weeks, years even, details how Senator Yee took cash in exchange for setting up meetings between that agent and that arms dealer. Some other allegations here that he also placed a call to the Health and Human Services to try to facilitate a law that would have been pro-medical marijuana. Also issued a proclamation supporting a front group for what the FBI says was really a criminal organization here in San Francisco. Now, if all of these charges prove to be true, well, Senator Yee could be facing as many as 20 years behind bars.
Ben, thanks a lot. And his criminal complaint alleges Senator Yee also worked with Muslim rebel forces in Mindanao, Philippines to traffic firearms. Rebel forces attempting to overthrow that government. Lee allegedly set up the FBI informant who could get guns from rebels, which would then go to the U.S., Sicily, and then North Africa. Now, right after 9/11, U.S. troops arrived in Mindanao to train Philippine forces against a terror group connected with al-Qaeda.
Leland Yee has served in the state legislature since 2003, first in the Assembly and then eventually in the Senate. His district, District 8, includes San Francisco and San Mateo counties. He authored 138 bills which have approved as law in his first year as a lawmaker. In fact, as an assemblyman in 2003, all 15 of the bills that he authored were signed into law. Again, that was his first year. Yee has a PhD, a wife, and 4 kids. He immigrated here from China when he was 3 years old. And Yee's arrest makes him the 3rd senator to face legal problems this year. Steph, I know you got a recap of those other cases for us tonight.
Eric, in addition to Senator Yee, there are the cases of Senator Rod Wright and Senator Ron Calderon. About a month ago, Senator Calderon pleaded not guilty to federal bribery and corruption charges, alleging he accepted nearly $100,000 in exchange for actions on certain legislation. The FBI started their investigation into his actions 5 years ago. Calderon has since taken a leave of absence from the Senate and is currently out on bail. If he is convicted on all 24 counts of the indictment, he could spend 396 years in prison. And Senator Rod Wright has been convicted of perjury and voter fraud for not living in the district where he was elected. Wright is currently on a leave of absence while a judge finalizes the jury's verdict. All 3 of these senators are Democrats Democrats, with both Calderon and Wright out. The Democrats have lost their supermajority now in the Senate.
And Senator Yee's arrest this morning stunned many at the state capitol, and so did the FBI raid that happened at his office. Our team coverage continues tonight with Lonnie Wong. And Lonnie, do we know specifically what agents were looking for in that office at the Capitol this morning?
Well, Eric, key to this investigation is documentation, and that's what the FBI was looking for. Digital information, too, when we talk about computers, and they found that in Senator Yee's offices. And, of course, the Democratic leadership's reaction was swift and it was harsh.
And we express our anger and our revulsion at today's events.
Even before Senate leaders could decipher the exact nature of the charges, they said Yee had to go.
I want to, on behalf of my colleagues today, call on Senator Yee to resign, leave. Don't burden your colleagues in this great institution with your troubles.
Again, I appreciate all your cooperation. Please, no faces. We would really appreciate it, all right?
The Senate Sergeant-at-Arms asked that FBI agents' faces remain hidden as they shuttled in and out of the fourth-floor offices of Senator Yee. It was a similar scene to a raid of Senator Ron Calderon's offices last summer by the FBI. Calderon was eventually indicted on corruption charges, trading money for political favors and sponsorship of legislation. In this case, Yee was arrested at the same time as the search of his offices. Late in the morning, 2 carts were used to take at least 9 boxes of documents, the result of what is believed warrants issued for Yee's home and offices. Just what agents were looking for isn't clear, but documentation is a large part of any corruption prosecution. Yee is the 3rd state senator arrested in the last year, all Democrats. Senator Rob Wright was convicted of elections fraud when he was found to live outside his district. Calderon's corruption case has not yet gone to trial. Both were granted leaves of absences. Senate Pro Tem Darrell Steinberg was criticized for not expelling indicted senators. He acted quickly in Yee's case. Lawmakers say despite recent events, the Senate does good work.
Their actions, or lack thereof, are not a reflection of this great institution. We will move forward.
The Senate leadership seemed to express genuine anger at the course of events. They say that they'll act to suspend Leland Yee if he doesn't resign, and they say none of those 3 senators will ever step foot in the Senate again.
Thanks a lot, Lonnie Wong at the state capitol. We are joined now by our political analyst, Gary Dietrich. So much to cover here.
What a day.
But given the severity of these charges, his tenure, and then Steinberg's reaction, this is unprecedented.
I think they've had enough. I mean, come on. Sure. 3 state senators in the first half of this year. Remember, an election year, you guys have been talking about the 2/3 majority. That is very key for Democrats. If they don't hold on to that, there's a whole lot of things they'd like to see happen in the Capitol. It just won't happen.
Okay, he was actually given an award for transparency in government, for being a leader in transparency in government. What does this say in terms of political contributions, things that were tied now to weapons charges, in terms of transparency? What does that say about
aren't these charges unbelievable? We're talking weapons trafficking halfway around the world.
Right.
This is a guy that was running for, remember, Secretary of State, seen as the squeaky clean statewide government office in charge of our elections and all. I think clearly now that candidacy is doomed.
How does this all play out? And we were talking about the 3rd Democrat, the 3rd state senator, who is now facing charges. What happens next in terms of trying to keep things in line in terms of how the Senate addresses this?
Well, that's a great question. You can bet behind 119 other Capitol doors today. Hey, did we co-sponsor any legislation with Senator Yee? Were any of those people advocating that in our offices? Did we meet with them? There's going to be a lot of that going on. There's even been rumors maybe others may get drugged down with this as well. So this may not be done, but certainly right now, the Senate leadership just has to be, they just have to be shaking their heads in disbelief.
All right, and just one last question for you in terms of how fast it happened with the resignation request. What does that speak to moving forward here legally?
Yeah, it's different than it was in the past, right? Which was drag it out, drag it out, drag it out. I think it's now, I think, frankly, they'd like to see all 3 of these senators gone and gone now.
All right, Gary Dietrich, our political analyst, thank you so much.
Sure.
And we'll continue our coverage of Senator Yee's arrest at 5:30, including a look at highlights of his career so far. And the senator is running for Secretary of State. Hear what his competitors have to say about today's events.
On to the storm watch for you tonight. And we caught a downpour in Roseville this morning. That was right by the Galleria. The National Weather Service expects Roseville to get more than 3/4 of an inch of rain from this week's storms. And that's not all. The snow level dropping, and we can prove that. Take a look at side-by-side comparisons from our camera at Bald Mountain. Yesterday, no snow. Today, falling pretty steady. Bald Mountain is at 4,200 feet in El Dorado County. And Christina, this is not anywhere near from over.
No, it's not, but it looks like the thunderstorm event really is just getting started. Let's go ahead right now and take a look at your radar. And I want to zoom into the area where we've had a tornado warning really in effect for the past 2 hours. It continues to move. Right now it is over our toys. You can see it was moving to the north and to the east, but now it's taken a turn and it's now moving to the east southeast. It will continue in this direction with the tornado warning continuing till at least 5:15, but we're still picking up rotation on this cell. I'm actually going to take out the hail here, and you can see the actual hook in this system. You can see the backward C there as we continue to see rotation within this cell and a whole lot of hail as I put that back in. Again, tornado warning. We've already seen pictures of this via Twitter. I think we have one picture. Maybe we can pull it up real quick, guys, and then come back to the radar. I'm hoping we can pull that up. We may not have that. Yes, Butte Weather Spotter actually put this out on Twitter so you can see the actual funnel. We don't know yet if it has touched the ground, but again, the radar for at least the last hour and a half has been indicating a tornado or at the very least a funnel cloud. As you can see, a nice shot of it right there. Okay, let's come back to the radar because this is not the only spot obviously dealing with severe weather right now. In and around Arden Arcade, stretching up towards Citrus Heights, right along 80 as everyone is heading home. We are seeing very heavy downpours. We are also seeing lightning and thunder, and of course we are seeing hail. Heavy storms also from Slough House all the way out towards Rancho Murrieta. And then as you start to get just to the east of Stockton, we're starting to see some of these cells weaken just a bit, and a strong cell earlier just to the south and to the east of Turlock is starting to lose its strength right now, but we will be back if anything else does turn severe. It still could be a very long couple of hours as we still have plenty of daylight.
And wherever you are, you can get the forecast on your phone thanks to the free FOX40 app. Track live radar, see the 7-day, or check out the current temperatures. All of it free with the FOX40 app.
It's been 5 days since a mudslide wiped out most of a Washington town. We're live next with an update on how difficult the search is to find victims and if there's any hope left for survivors. Plus,
some of the objects appeared to be bright, possibly indicating solid material.
Another possible sighting of debris from missing Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, why searchers are confident they could actually lead them to the plane.
And only on Fox 40, a headstone with a typo. We talked to the man battling to get this gravestone changed so it properly reads, resting peacefully.